Hi, this is Regeline Sabat, also known as Gigi. You're listening to Walk With Me podcast. My guest today is Lorrie Thomas Ross. Lorrie Thomas Ross is the CEO of Web Marketing Therapy, Inc. Welcome to the show, Lorrie.
Thanks, Gigi.
You're welcome. It's an honor to have you here today. Now, why don't you start by telling us more about you and where you are from?
Gosh, I'm a California girl, born and raised, and I've been in Atlanta now for about 8 years, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah, ATL.
Absolutely amazing. Now, you have to show us the Halloween hat you were just showing me there.
Oh, yes. Yes. This is how I came on, just to make sure. Yes. A
I love
little.
it. I love it. Yes, ma'am. So now tell us more about your company, CEO of Web Marketing Therapy, Inc.
Yes, I never thought I would be a marketing therapist or have a company called Web Marketing Therapy. I have been in the sales and marketing world since, gosh, before starting Girl Scout cookies, but that's a lot. We don't have that much time today. I was in the retail management world, got recruited in the fitting room area of Saks Fifth Avenue where I was a stylist. I had a client who said, you need to stop your job in management here and you come work with me on the internet. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but anyways, here's your purse, here's whatever. And she called me a few months later and said, this is where the future is. You've got to take that leap. You're gonna make a lot of money on the internet, is what she said. And I think I whispered in the phone something like, I can wear jeans to work, right? And so I started selling advertising back in the dot-com boom. And that was 1999. And we did party like it was 1999. I was 21 years old. Nobody asked for a job application, nothing. They're just like, she likes you, you're in. It was a wacky, wild, wonderful time. Cut to selling online advertising to then going and kind of, going through the dot-com IPOs and, working for different companies. I was asked to sell, instead of selling advertising, to start buying it to help my companies acquire more leads and more sales. And so I went from that depth of sales to this breadth of marketing, email marketing, website optimization, affiliate marketing, you name it. And this is still in the early aughts. So there were no super guidebooks and courses on all of this stuff. So here I was, this kind of dot-com kid growing up professionally in a very exciting time. And I started teaching at UC Santa Barbara. They asked me to teach their web marketing courses. And I was like, why me? And they're like, because you're a veteran. I'm like, me? It was the scariest thing I'd ever done, teaching for 3 hours to a bunch of adults in the corporate world. And it was the biggest game changer for my career. That's where I started finding my love for entrepreneurs and was just so enamored with people's vision and their values. And I had students who, after they would take my classes, they're like, can you consult for me? And I'm like, I'm not a consultant. I work for corporations. And so I had a few contacts, one from a speaking engagement, one through teaching, who said, we'll take you nights and weekends, and maybe if you'll do a call with us once in a while on your lunch hour. I'm like, sure. So my side hustle began to be what I absolutely just loved. I loved teaching. I loved consulting. And so I left the confines of the corporate world in 2005 and started out as Lorrie Thomas Web Marketing because someone asked who to write the check to, and I had to make it up really quickly. But over time, my clients started calling me their marketing therapist. And they're like, oh my gosh, I got to get on your couch. You're my therapist. You just mediated all this dysfunction between us and our web guy, and now everything's great. And a lot of these therapisms came up, and therapy is about healing. It's about being the best you can be and growing and evolving. And so I bought the domain Web Marketing Therapy, and I sat on it for a couple years. But as my team grew, and it really aligned with what we're all about. So 16 years later, I have been running Web Marketing Therapy. We diagnose, prescribe, and guide healthy marketing solutions. We don't sell services. We're in the solutions business. And often we work arm in arm with web companies or social media folks, PR professionals. We're in the business of being our client advocate and figuring out exactly what they need. Sometimes it's advisory, sometimes it's training, sometimes it's step in full-fledged marketing management. And it's all about getting someone better and moving and evolving. And so we put the puzzle pieces together so it clicks. And so that's that's a part of what I do. And then a few years ago, I had a lot of digital entrepreneurs, women, digital entrepreneurs who are like, you work without walls, you have a staff. How do you do it? How do you do it all? Like, and so we created Wild Web Women because that was something another client of ours started to call us. And that became our coaching company that helps our digital entrepreneurs grow gorgeously. And it's advisory. It's hands-on support, because often you take the classes, you go to the webinars, you go to the conferences, and then you go back home and you're like, I still can't figure out how to make my website do that, or I still don't know how to get XYZ going. So Wild Web Woman has a really fabulous membership program, and it's pop in and pop out, and there's no obligation, to stay. I have some women who've joined and they're like, all I need is a couple months. They're in, they're out. So it is all about super healthy marketing. And that's what marketing is all about. The true meaning of marketing is maximizing relationships. So that should be fun. And if you're feeling like marketing's icky, yucky, stressful, expensive, you're doing something wrong, because that's not the energy you want to be putting out there in the name of attracting ideal clients.
That's right. And building relationships is very important. Now, how do you help leaders lead themselves unapologetically?
Oh, it's so simple. It's how we show up. And it begins by voicing your value and your values. And while that sounds so like, well, yeah, Lorrie, that's what everyone does, getting to the core of that authenticity and like what you stand for, why you do what you do, and that, all the facts that are out there, but marrying that with your personal opinion. It's our personal brand. It's how we speak. It's what we share on social media. Aligning all of that in a way where there is no fear. There is no, ooh, I don't know if I should post this picture. My goal is to help leaders show up in a way that is truly in alignment with their authenticity, with their value, with their values. And I have some clients who are like, I don't want to do Facebook. I'm like, great, don't do Facebook. And they're waiting for me to fight with them and say, you should do it. I'm not going to should on anybody. I'm going to could on people, but I'll say, look, let's start with LinkedIn if that feels right for you. Let's get this going and let's start small and snowball. But I just feel like there's so much, you have to do this, you've got to do that. It's all about your unique puzzle. It's all about your personality. And the years that I showed up where I was trying to be someone to someone, this is actually funny. Talk about showing up in a way that's not in alignment. You guys can Google me, Lorrie Thomas or Lorrie Thomas Ross. You can watch my hairdos over the years. My last years in California, my hair is super long. It was highlighted. I called it my Barbie hair. Everyone's like, oh, it's so pretty. You look so good. I was a new mom. I was like stressed. I was so skinny. And everyone's like, oh, you look so great. And I was trying to be this corporate CEO, entrepreneur, author, speaker, but that's not who I am. And I was trying to look a certain way because I kept getting this feedback. In one of these moments, I was like, this hair is heavy. My life is heavy. And that's when I stopped and I was like, no more. I want to be true to myself. I'm going to speak my truth, and just be myself. And sometimes that's a little wacky and goofy, but it's so important to be yourself, because that's how you start to attract ideal clients unapologetically. Right.
Authenticity truly matters. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Very powerful testimony. Now, can you tell us more about the major challenge that you had to overcome in your life and in business?
Oh my gosh. I grew up in what looked on the outside like a very perfect family, nice home in a safe community in Southern California, but there was a lot of dysfunction. My parents just didn't handle their relationship well. And there was definitely like undiagnosed mental illness. And so I became oddly responsible at a very young age, just to kind of pick things up. And I also became a massive enabler so that everything went smoothly. I was the fixer. I was all of that. It took me years as an adult to start to peel those onion layers off and be like, oh, that's not normal. It actually was my first husband's family who taught me the power of unconditional love. Growing up, I got attention by winning the speaking contests in school, by getting the leads in the play, by getting straight A's, by achieving. And so I became this chronic achiever. And I would do things again, like not, I was like back with the hair, like because everyone told me it looked good. I didn't like it, but I wanted that praise, that recognition. I was doing things for the recognition, but once I got the recognition, I was like, okay, next. And so I wasn't having a lot of fun. And I did all the things, like I was student body president, honor society, all that stuff. And it just wasn't in alignment. And so, I got married. Gosh, I was 22 the first time I got married, and I would do it all over again. I'm super close with my husband. He actually works with us at Web Marketing Therapy. He's one of my best friends. And his family was the first experience of like, oh, we can not get along sometimes, but we can also go to dinner and hug each other after. I mean, in my world growing up, love had an on and off switch. And so I am so thankful for the Thomas family for showing me that love and support. And also I had the best divorce ever, like hashtag best divorce ever. Like we were laughing, holding hands, super good friends. And sometimes when you love people, you have to let them go. And so that I think is very telling about my values, and also that you can choose your own family and that you don't have to be a victim to your circumstances, and having understanding, forgiveness, love, and not just love for others, but also love for yourself. And it took me a long time to realize that I was okay. I was okay if I wasn't writing my second book immediately, or if I, didn't have the perfect highlighted Barbie hair. It was like, I'm okay just being a human.
Yes, ma'am. Very inspiring. Now, what is your why that keeps you going?
Recognition magic is like my jam. I mean, I can see in others, I like what they often don't see in themselves, but being that support person, it's a horrible analogy, but everyone always remembers it. My clients are Batman. They're superheroes in all these respective fields. My team and I, we're Robin. We're the trusty sidekick. We've got their back. Like they can drop the bombs, we'll catch them and defuse them. My why is to help people live and work on brand, which goes back to that unapologetic leader, how we show up on brand, but also on purpose. Every single client that I serve does what they do with passion, with purpose. And I'm the same. I want to work, but I want to play, and I want to see my clients have that same quality of life as well. And so it is about support, and it's about teamwork. But it's also just back to quality relationships. How we show up is the energy that we put out there, and what we read, whom we associate with, what we put in our brains is all part of that formula. It's our wellness, right? It's mental, spiritual, emotional, physical, all of the things. And so really at the end of the day, I love people more than I love marketing, more than anything. I just, and my daughter will always say, you just want to be everyone's mom. Like that's what my daughter says. That's her take on what, but yeah, I love inspiring people, and I want people to live in a way that really aligns with not just what they enjoy, like doing what they do best and having others do the rest, but also having that quality of life. Both my father and stepfather died horribly, unexpectedly, like this. And both of those experiences just rocked me. And I was like, life is short. Or for some of us, worse, it could be really, really long, right? Like that could be really bad too. But understanding what we want and what we value, and making sure that we weave that into our lives. Like, let's not wait till we retire, but let's do those things and have some fun now.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Now, tell us more about how important is your faith to you?
Being connected to source, God, whatever you want to call it, and I respect everyone has their own connection, is everything, right? We're beings. We are beings here on this planet to leave things better and to make a difference in our own respective way. And that can be large or small. But until we can hand things over and just understand that there's a reason for everything, everything happens in the right time and the right place, and just to trust our higher power, and just to understand that we're here to serve.
Amen. Amen. Let go, let God. Yes, very powerful. Now, what is your best advice to the audience for walking with purpose and living a life of happiness?
Lead with love. Absolutely lead with love. And that's love for your hobbies, it's love for your family, it's love for God, it's love for your community. But also, it's loving yourself and seeing yourself as perfect in every stage of your life. It doesn't matter if we're, how much money we make or how many wrinkles we have. It matters like who we are as a human. I met someone at a networking event. His name was Brock Harley, and I consider him a super like we have like a super great connection energetically. And he asked me who I was as a human. And I was like, that is the nicest way that someone has ever engaged with me. And this was a networking event. Usually it's like, what do you do? How many employees do you have? And I answered and I'm like, I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I'm a volunteer. I'm a friend. I'm a sister. And he was like, we're like, boom. And so that has always stuck with me, is that we are not what we do, but we are who we are. And so just being here and doing what we love and loving what we do, and also transformation. We are always in this transformation. We're always going to be, if we are connected spiritually, we're always evolving and growing.
That's right. Very powerful. Thank you, Lorrie, for being a guest on Walk With Me podcast. Now, where can the audience find you?
Well, since I invited you all to Google me and go look at all my hairstyles, you can Google Lorrie Thomas Ross, webmarketingtherapy.com or lorriethomasross.com or lorriethomas.com. You can get there either way. But I'm a web woman, so I am in all the places. I'm easy to track down.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to check out Lorrie at webmarketingtherapy.com, lorriethomas.com, and also wildwebwoman.com. Lorrie, thank you again for being a guest on Walk With Me podcast, and you have a blessed day.
Thanks, you too.